Alright, what's up y'all? My name's Tim Ream. I'm here today on the 93rd day of the spring cut. I do want to address a couple comments that we've had in the comment section. They're asking me about my diet, macros, and eating healthy and all this stuff, so I'm going to try to break that all down today. So this comment that I had was actually just one comment. It was by first name, middle name, last name. And this video is going to be posted probably 3 weeks after he, asked the initial comment. I'll refer him back to this video. This is a disclaimer, I'm obviously not a dietitian or a doctor. Obviously consult your doctor, do whatever you gotta do. These are just suggestions and how I went about it. It said, does eating healthy and only drinking water get fast and better gains? Eating healthy and drinking water is a big part of getting into shape. The biggest thing that I've found in my own, weight loss journey or whatever, it's finding your maintenance range of calories, okay? And if you can find how much your maintenance calories are, then you know how much, if you go over, you're gonna be gaining weight, but if you go below, then you're gonna be losing weight. So yes, drinking water and eating healthy is important, but if I'm still in a calorie surplus, but eating healthy, I'm still gonna gain weight. So I've gotta find that before anything else. And then if I do drink water and eat healthy, if I'm in the calorie deficit, then I'm losing weight, and then that's actually really, really counting for something. There's a couple different ways to find that, and I'll let you know here in a second. And I can help somebody get really dialed in on what their diet should look like and all that stuff, but I don't really know this person's situation, so I'm gonna give it more vague and broad terms. And finding your maintenance calories, you can do it a couple different ways. You can take, for a man, you can take basically your body weight and multiply it by 15. And that'll be your basic, get you in the ballpark, maintenance calorie range. And from there, you just need to keep track of your weight. And if you're going up in weight, then you should probably drop it until you cease gaining, right? And you're even. Then that's your maintenance calories. So that'll get you in the ballpark, and you'll probably still have to adjust it from there, but that'll at least get you in the game. And then another way to do it is weigh yourself on day one. Log everything you eat, all the way down to your condiments, sauces, everything, for the next 5 days. And then on day 5, you're gonna weigh yourself again and see if you gained weight or lost it. But that being said, you're going to add up everything you ate for those 5 days, and then you're going to divide that by 5 and find your average maintenance calorie range. Right there, that's how to find your maintenance calorie range. I don't know how big you are, as far as you're really overweight or you're kind of just in, a few pounds overweight. I don't know if you're trying to gain it, I don't know. So I'm going to assume that you're not too far out of shape, right? They say that you want to lose anywhere from 1% of your body weight per week. Obviously, if you're 300 pounds or 400 pounds, then that's going to be less. But if you're in a relatively moderately healthy kind of body composition, then 1% probably wouldn't be too bad. If I'm 200 pounds, if I can lose 2 pounds a week, then that's probably a pretty good target. Also, I'd like to say that if I'm 250 pounds, but if I'm wanting to get down to, say, 205, you want to feed the lean body mass that you are. You don't want to feed 250 pounds. You're trying to lose that. All right, there's a 35-pound, let's say 45-pound weight difference there. So if you can feed that lean body mass versus the entire complete body mass, and I think that's been very beneficial for me too, just feeding the man that you want to be and letting the other person just starve out. Once you find your maintenance range of calories, if you can go under that 500 calories per day times 7 days in a week is 3,500 calories. And 3,500 calories is how many calories is in 1 pound of fat. So just at a negative 500 calorie deficit, you're going to be losing 1 pound of fat on average per week. If you go into it 1,000 calories, then you're going to be losing 2 pounds a week. You can start throwing maybe a little bit of cardio in there or increasing your activity, and you can offset it that way, but just for general terms, that caloric deficit, you got to know how much is in a pound of fat, how many calories, and it's 3,500. So that'll definitely help you out too. All right, so like I said, just kind of speaking in general terms there, So if you find your maintenance range of calories, I mean, it's all dependent on there. That's where everything hinges at. For me, I've found that if I eat processed foods, like they just stick around. It takes longer for my body to process them or something, but if I eat foods that have one ingredient, chicken has chicken, not all of my foods have a bunch of additives. Like if I'm eating oats, it's not like Quaker oats with all the sugar and all the additives and all that. It's literally just rolled oats. Like that's it. So I try to keep the things that I do eat very, very simple. Because I find that if I eat organic or just really raw foods, my body just processes and tears right through them. So I think whenever you are eating healthy and you're drinking a lot of water and you're in that calorie deficit, that's whenever you're really going to be able to notice it. Okay, and he says, what is your diet routine, if you don't mind me asking? So we'll get into macros here. I don't want to get too technical but still kind of important. I didn't want to put it in the comments just because I want to give you accurate information. I want to give you information that's actually going to change your life, if you go to apply it. So I wanted to get more of the intricate detail worked out on a video for you to actually be able to work from. We'll go into that here in a second. So he asked me what my diet routine looked like. Basically, I just broke down how I kind of eat, and it's very raw. Not everything is organic, but what I do eat is just one ingredient in the label. There is, I do believe, an important combination of macronutrients. So whenever you do find your maintenance range of calories, and there's apps you can do this with, or you can log it all manually and break it down. Get on the internet, figure out how to do it. I'm not going to do all the calculations here, but if you can stay, either you're doing your lean target body weight, and that's what you multiplied by 15, or you're multiplying your entire weight by 15, and then you're going to drop calories from there. Whichever method you decide on, you're going to do 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, and then you're going to do 50 grams of max, and that's max of fats, and then the rest is going to be carbohydrates. And I'd like to make an important point too, that if I'm bulking or I'm cutting, I might add a little bit more emphasis on protein or fats in each one of those scenarios. But really, the only thing that's really going to change, if I'm bulking, I'm probably going to bump up the carbs. And if I'm, cutting, then I'm going to, bump the carbs down. So it's basically going to be kind of on a sliding scale, whether I'm bulking or cutting. So that's been pretty much my macros that I've stuck with. I've stated about I'd say consistently about a 750 calorie deficit. I ain't even gonna try to do the math. I mean, over 100 days, that'd be 75,000 calories divided by 3.5. I know that I have lost about 22 pounds at this point in the last 90 days. So I think it's 1.7 pounds a week. And I'm a smaller guy, but you got to think of that there's actually underlying causes. If I'm overweight, then there's actually underlying habits beneath that I've accumulated over time that have me adding weight, right, or gaining weight. And it's my diet, maybe lack of activity. I'm in stressful environments, I'm emotionally eating, whatever they are. There's the thing, you can diet for 90 days and get down to, a target body weight, but if you don't ever get those habits out of there and replace with something else, then I'm gonna probably revert right back to that same bullshit. So I find that instead of setting, I want to do this in 90 days or whatever, I find that I would rather make slow progress and actually build a good foundation on weeding all those things out that need to be out of there. And by the time I hit, 120, 150 days, a year, I'm starting to really get some good habits accumulated, and I'm starting to really make progress, and I'm building out my foundation. So whenever I put weight on it, then it doesn't crumble. Most people try to move fast in the diet game. They'll go good for 3-4 days, 5 days, and then they'll have a cheat day that blows it all. So I find that not trying to lose too much weight too fast is going to be very, very key. I'd rather have slow progress, but sure progress, rather than fast, inconsistent progress. Okay, so this is something you're going to want to take your time with. I don't know your willpower, I don't know what type of character you have, but I think it's important to realize that there's got to be some actual habits that have to change, and redoing those, you might be redoing years of work in 90 days, it probably ain't gonna be totally sufficient. So I would just recommend too that you try to address the underlying habits underneath the actual weight gain itself or whatever. So in reversing those, and I'll say that habits are not broken, they are replaced. You know, you gotta just put something in its place that is a good habit that is gonna get you onto where you wanna go, and then it's just about implementing it, and you fall off, okay, you get back on track. But eventually you get off track less and less and less until it's just an ingrained habit. So that's another thing. Don't try to lose too much weight too fast. I'm gonna keep trying to kind of break this down, how I go about it. And how I did go about it. This really is how I went about it. With kind of some alternate variants, just I'm trying to make it to where it's more applicable maybe to somebody coming in here and ain't been working out for the last year. That's kind of new to it. So trying to break it down simply and in a way that will stick with you. I don't know how big you are, but doing cardio, most people don't realize that if you just get out and walk for like 45 minutes or an hour, you're gonna burn 300 calories right there. So if you've got that calorie deficit or that maintenance range of calories, and you go into it 500, below it 500 calories, and then you walk on top of that, and that's kind of added to your normal daily activities, now you're at 800 calorie deficit, right? So you'd be surprised at what walking would do. Walking, let's say 300 calories over 7 days. I mean, what are you at? 2,100 calories? It's another half pound of fat right there. So it's all about making these incremental changes and micro adjustments. And I'm assuming that you probably want to maintain your muscle mass and lose weight at the same time. Well, if you try to lose too much weight, like I was saying, for one, it might not be maintainable, but also the more that you start to drop weight, bigger calorie deficit that you get into, the more cardio you get into, the more of a chance that you have for losing muscle. So if you're wanting to keep muscle too, then you're going to want to be having a strength regimen in there too. And that's why I suggested the protein ratio of 0.8 to 1 gram roughly, and how I had the fats, proteins, and carbohydrates laid out for you. And like I said, I can get you very, very dialed in. If you read the back of the label on all these foods that you're going to eat, you found your macronutrients mix, found the foods you want to eat, I would suggest getting a kitchen scale and weighing it out, the food, because whenever I was just eyeballing it and using like a dry, say like with oats, using like a dry scoop to do a half a cup, I'd have the half a cup scoop and I'd scoop them out. And I'd be like, all right, that's good. Or 150 calories, it was 40 grams per half cup. Well, whenever I was doing the half cup and I went to go weigh it, it was actually 60 grams, 50 and 60 grams. So now my calories might be at 200 with that one scoop that I thought I was only consuming 150. And if you do that with 6 or 7 different foods during the day, then if you're only working at a 500 calorie deficit, it's starting to shrink incrementally. And if you're only at like, say 250 calories, at a calorie deficit of 250 calories, then it's gonna take you 2 weeks to see 1 pound of fat loss. And it's just gonna get so discouraging that it's just like, I don't see any progress. So you're gonna wanna be at enough of a calorie deficit to where you actually do see this stuff, whether it's like every day or two or something. I would suggest too, as you start on this weight loss thing, get all of your measurements with a tape measure, period, and take progress pictures, okay? Because whenever you step on the scale, you might not see it, but you can take those measurements and start seeing, oh, my waist is getting a little smaller, my legs are getting smaller. So the tape measure is going to be a big deal for you to refer back to, plus the progress pictures for you to say, okay, I can see a change here. Because sometimes we just don't see it. Yeah, I can't tell you how much of a difference that scale made. Whenever I went from just eyeballing my food, like whenever I was big, I was eating whatever I wanted. Then I realized that I had to get better about this. So I cut the portions back and they looked better, but still, I kind of knew I was still, not operating as good as I could. And then whenever I finally got to the point where it's like, dude, I need to throw this on a scale. And I threw the amount of food on the scale that I thought I was doing good with. And I looked at it, it was like, damn, this is still like 3,000 plus calories. Like my eyeballs and my appetite were still at the 3,000, 3,500 calorie thing intake, but I needed to be at about a 2,000 calorie diet. So I had to literally get it all out of there, see what everything looked like on the scale, and just look at it and say, if I'm gonna make any progress at all, then this has to be the amount of food that I eat, period, or I'm not gonna get the results that I'm actually after. So, I mean, you gotta be honest with yourself, and you know, you just gotta really just see it on the scale and say, dude, this is the new norm here for a while. There's a program that helped me out, and it's called 75 Hard. And 75 Hard had me drinking a gallon of water a day, and it had me on a diet that I couldn't break, or I had to start over, right? So if you go download 75 Hard app, it's like an ace. It has an ace sign with like 75 inside of it. And that would be an app too that'll kind of help you. Maybe you got to take a progress picture every day and all that stuff. So they can definitely help you out. You might think, oh, I might need to start training abs. You can train your abs. That's fine, you can do that. But the thing is, it doesn't matter how much ab training you get or you do. If you're still fat, you're not gonna see it, period. So the biggest thing to get your abs in, most people don't realize, you can't just come into the weight room and say, okay, I worked out really hard, and then go home and reward yourself with food. Like, you still gotta be on that calorie deficit in your calorie range, or else it's just not gonna work for you. So what I'm trying to say is that really, abs and stuff is not priority. It's getting the diet down and the calorie deficit down, because if you got all the fat in the world, it doesn't matter how conditioned your abs are, you're just not gonna see them. So really, your diet and your strength training should take precedence over any ab training. You can do them, but I'm just throwing that out there that it doesn't matter, you just won't see them. So it's best to focus on the things you can change that will bring that result about. And hell, who knows? You might even be, a strength competitor, and you're trying to lose some weight, trying to get dialed in. Just know that whenever I started this weight loss thing, like, I came in here with a bunch of spare fat. I was basically overnourished, and for the first probably 2 or 3 weeks, I was fine energy-wise. But after about 2 or 3 weeks, at a caloric deficit, my body kind of worked off a lot of those excess remaining reserves and all the carbohydrates and all the stuff that was in my system. And I started to get really low on energy. And whenever you don't have the proper fuel for your body, then your strength increases go down. But you gotta think, man, like, for me to be ripped, for me to be lean, to be in better shape, to look better physically, at the sacrifice of a little bit of strength, I feel like it's a total trade-off. And the thing is, whenever you get down to baseline, where you want to be, 10%, 12% body fat in that area, or wherever you want to be, like whenever you start going back into a caloric deficit or a caloric surplus, you're going to be able to get a lot of those strength gains back anyways, very, very fast. So it's just a temporary thing too that I'm wanting to kind of just make known, just in case that's something you're thinking of. And I will just let you know that you can go to the About section in my YouTube page. I've got my email in there. If you got more questions, then email me, and we can like set something up, a call, or go back and forth an email or whatever. Help you maybe with the training regimen, getting your calories right. This is a disclaimer, I'm obviously not a dietitian or a doctor. That's just what helped with me. Obviously consult your doctor, do whatever you gotta do. These are just suggestions and how I went about it. I don't know how old you are either. Medications, I don't know what you got going on. But, and I'm not telling you what diet to stick, no carbs. I'm telling you what kind of macronutrients to stick with, but you can get that from the Mediterranean diet. You can get that from any type of diet that you want. I'm just saying, you need higher protein, your fats. I'm just giving you some basic macronutrients to stay with, and that's gonna be any diet you choose. So it doesn't matter. We can get into this whole thing too. It's an important aspect. People think, oh, if I eat fats, I'm gonna get fat. If I eat carbohydrates, that'll make me fat. No macronutrients in and of itself makes you fat. This is why I said the most important thing that I started this video out with was your maintenance range of calories. I can eat all of that, 2,000 calories, let's say just as a rough figure, that's my maintenance range of calories. If I eat 2,000 calories of nothing but fat, my body weight's gonna maintain. Now if I eat 2,500 calories of fat, then I'm obviously gonna increase in body weight. There'll be fat deposition, there'll be excess and accumulation. If I eat 1,500 calories of fat, I'll lose weight. So it's all about, am I burning off more? Am I working off or consuming less than what I'm burning? So there's no bias. That's a myth, is what I'm trying to say. The macronutrients don't make you fat. It's a caloric surplus that makes you fat. So the reason I say a gram of protein, 0.8 to a gram of protein is gonna be fine for your calories and body weight. is because you want to maintain the muscle mass rather than lose it. And by doing the strength training, you're going to give it a reason to stick around, because if you go into that heavy calorie deficit and you aren't doing any strength training, then basically your body is going to be looking for an energy source somewhere because it doesn't have what it needs, and it will go to muscle first and try to start catabolizing the muscle. So I don't want to make this too complicated for you, but if you want to maintain your muscle while you're doing this whole thing, then you'll want to have your protein intake a little higher in the range that I just said, and be doing strength training at the same time, probably at least 3 times a week. I would say that's pretty much a pretty good breakdown of how I would go about it. And that's me fine-tuning some stuff too. All right, guys. Anyways, that was day 93 of the spring cut. Appreciate you guys who are following along with me, engaging with me in the comments. If you like the way that I break down the workouts and the way I take you through them, I just ask that you would please share, like, and subscribe. If you guys don't like them, that's all good too. We'll part as friends. I'm gonna start extending some of my knowledge to you guys. So if you want to get a hold of me for like diet plans, get your macros right, get a training regimen, figure out how to lose some weight, go to the About section in my YouTube page and give me an email, or leave me a comment or whatever in the some of the videos or whatever. I'll get back to you. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please share, like, and subscribe for more content. Hit the notification bell below. Hit all so you can get all of my stuff that's coming out. Please follow along. Let's fucking go.